want to actually, let's say we want to actually learn how to create a post. So like when we go to our main site and we're actually trying to build, you can see that when you click on this create post, you get this here. You can enter the title and that of the content. So actually achieve it, you can see, look at in our scenario, we don't actually have anything that exists like that. To actually do this, first of all, you need to actually go to that of your forms. We are going to create a form that is going to have that of the title and that of the content. So let's just copy this as a starting point, so we can come down here and then we can call it we can say create, we can call it our create underscore post form. By the number I can give it any name of your choice, going to inherit from these forms the model form. So the model that is going to inherit from that of the post model that we have, because that is where our post is going to be. The first is going to be that of the title, second is going to be that of the content. So these are the forms that we're actually interested in making use of. So I think that's the title and that of the content. Let's go back to our models.py. Let me get rid of this. Our models.py, I hope that was, where did this guy vanish? I think that was it. Title and content. So we're going to go to our views and then we're going to import it here. I already copied this, so I'm going to create post form. So since we've actually imported it here, we're going to go down here so we can render them. Create a function, give it any name. We can call it user underscore create. I think that's create underscore what post. We don't want to create a post. So the first parameter is going to take it out of the request, and then that is it. Second parameter, you can decide to create a form. Just create a variable form is going to hold on to the create post form. So I'm going to check if you are going to make it. If you made a post request, so it's going to be if request dot method is equals to what post request. So if you're not getting what actually measure, to head back a little bit, so that's what I've done this over and over. So not really much for us to actually go back again to do again. We're going to set our form to this of the create post form that we have. We are going to set the request the what post. So if you made a post request, any new information is going to be sent to this of the create post form, which is that of the title and that of the content. So I'm going to say if that of the form that is underscore what valid. If it's valid, what are we going to do? Remember that each post you make, like if you create a post here, it must come in your name. Like you can't just create a post anonymously that nobody actually created a post. Remember that when we go to our models.py, when you create a post, there must be an author. Hope that's actually how to understand. And to actually do this, we are going to set that of the form that since your form is valid, that means it's good to be saved. Then you can set the author of the post. I'm going to set it to what instance. That's the form dot instant dot what author. I'm going to set it to what that of the request dot user. So I'm going to set the title. I can say that of the title and that of the content. Any post you make, it must have an author, and then we're trying to set the author to be so the person that is currently logged in. That's you know that before you can create a post, you must be logged in. So this is a new parameter I can actually impute here. Let's put it here to make things a little bit easier for us. So then, since we have actually set the person that is logged in to be that of the author, so I can say, then we can say our form dot was save to actually save this. So after we're done saving it, we want to actually redirect that person maybe to a home page or the root page, anywhere of your choice. So we can say our return what redirect. I think that was redirect. We're going to send it to that of the root page, which is our home page. Then after that, then we want to return our template. So the first parameter is going to be that of the request, and then our template, which is going to be our blog underscore page slash the name of the HTML file that we're going to render. So we can call it create underscore post dot what html. This signifies the app name, and this is the file name. So we want to actually move that form into our template. So you can actually decide to create a context like how I've been doing earlier here, which is context, but I don't think doing that all the time is much of the need. So I'm going to give our key to that of the form, and then the value is going to be sent to that of the form. So what is meant for us to create this of the create post of HTML? So we're going to go to our HTML file. I'm going to right click new file HTML. Simple as that. So actually for this our HTML file, we're going to erase some things from this of the let me just erase this. I'll just copy this. Create post. This one just let's just also copy for this block body, moving over, and then we're going to say end. Currently have to leave it an end block body, but I think making it a little bit shorter it doesn't do any harm. So the next one to do actually we can start to give it each one tag to write a test that is what we're going to create a new post, simple as that, which is then create a new post which was this title have here. So if I go to okay, I still have to be logged in. So let me just log in. Let me log in as that of the Ezee case. So that was 20277. So I'm going to that was testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I need to log in. And the username and password was incorrect. The password was incorrect. Let me just go to home. Remember I changed it earlier. Let me just copy this. Go back to login. Paste that again. That's testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit on this login. So we're currently logged. So anytime I click on this create post, I want to actually run this. I want to actually run this function, and then this function is going to run this of our template that we have here. To do this, we're going to go to our URL. So I'm going to copy this. Create. Let's go post. I'm going to create post or page. Hope that's not hard to. Okay, so we're just going to later I'll go to this create post. Want to actually something is actually want to run this user create post. So let me go to user create post. Let's actually do example like going to this create post right here. I see create new post like what to that's the part that what we are able to achieve this create post right create new post. So the next thing we want to actually do is enter we click on this create post because right now it's not going anywhere. Want it to actually take effect. So to do this, we are going to go to our page.html and want to just take this as a starting point. So create post here, must be authenticated. So let's go to the heart of our URL, create post page. You're going to make use of the name. Remember, I can actually set where was that? Create page. Remember, I can actually set the complete URL path, which I mean the complete URL path. Can just copy this and then paste it here. So this should take effect. Let me click on home, click on create post. Can see that's actually working pretty well. So next we want to do operation on create post. We want to create a form. So I'm going to set the method. So I'm going to set it to that of what post. Wow, actually done that. So just set the method to post. So since we have set the method to post, the next we want to actually do is actually to render this of the form that we have here. So to render that is basically simple. So we're going to go here, instead of this form, we're going to say our what form. Simple as that. So just actually do this again. You can see the title and that of the content. So by making use of this of the cryptsy, you can then try to style it a little bit. So let me just put this. Where is that slash cryptsy? Let us see how any styling that cryptsy tend to give. You can see little bit styling more. It makes a little bit of sense. So let me just zoom it a little bit. Zoom it a little bit. Not really much to see. To actually enter content here, so a title and then that of the content over here. So let me just zoom this guy back. So you can see I'm able to remove our forms just simple as that. So I'm going to create a button So that button you can decide to give it any name, but let's just give it post. So you should make sure it's inside of this form. You can give it a test post. Simple as that. Actually, on this, you can see button post. Everything is seen a little bit nice and we want. And then since once you make a post request, you can see if you make a post request, we are going to populate what you entered in that form which is what you entered, and then if the form is valid, we are going to set you as the author, and then we are going to set the form, and then we are going to redirect you to home page. So let's actually do that. You can see first testing title. First testing title. You can see first testing content. That's content. Let's actually make a push request. Yeah? Okay. I keep on forgetting this guy. So that create post going to be the first parameter after the form. So I'm going to use this going to be CSRF underscore CBCD. So let's run this again. Continue. Maybe it a little bit of let's cancel. Let's create post. I think this was title, this was actually content. Let's hit on this post. You can see everything got posted. Easy key, first title in admin. No? This first testing title. Yeah, first testing content. You can see that actually worked beautiful like how we expected. See this is it, it's 2020. Let's actually update this guy because this guy is kind of so 2027 looks good. So let's actually update it like that. Coach can see account was updated successfully. Also try to give it a new picture. This picture that we're basically using is being used by a whole lot of people. Actually, picture, then update. You can see account was updated successfully. Go back home. You can see my picture now see different from other guys. As a first testing title, first testing content. You can see how this how that simple was actually to. I'm able to learn how to actually create a test, create a content like how we change the profile picture of this is a key 227 to this first content. So what we're going to do is that we are going to learn actually how to update the content, because if we can't update the content, then listen in a situation whereby our content seems like a little bit outdated, some information on it, we want to update it. So that's basically what we are going to do. So updating content is basically simple, but can be a little bit tricky if you don't pay attention really well. So the first thing we want to do is that since we know that somebody is actually going to be logged in before you can update a particular content, so we're going to make use of this of the login required decorator. So with that, we're going to start our function. So we're going to say we're going to call it our update underscore post. Remember, I can give it any name, and it takes that of the two parameter. That is not a must. Well, I think that's going to make sense a little bit. So I'm going to explain why we said that of the PK. That PK stands for that of the primary key. So let's want to do is actually to query our database to do some other things. So I'm going to say post.objects.get. We want to get information, and why do we want to get it? By that of the ID, and we're going to set it to that of the PK. So whenever I have Django database commands, we will show something like this, how we can actually get a particular content by making that of the ID. This PK primary key can be 1, can be 2, can be 3, can be anything of your choice. So why do we say this PK? This PK is going to catch a particular extra parameter that is going to be sent to our URL. So it's going to catch it, and then it's going to move it over to this our function, and then it's going to be sent to database. So ID is going to be set to that of the parameter, the text or the content that is being held by this of the PK guy. So let's go to that of our URL to explain this a little bit more. So let me just copy this, then paste it apart, so we can say update. This is URL update. So we want to say something str hyphen pk. I think that's it. So this supposed to be update post. Let me just copy this. So this is going to be update post function. Then I'm going to explain what we're actually doing. Being familiar with this guy, which is the name we gave to our URL, and this is the function that's going to run. Enter, will go to this slash update. So this str that it is, this is if I want to enter an extra string parameter in our URL. Let's say the extra string parameter will enter. Let's assume there's a number. So we can say 1, 2, 3, 4. But let's just leave it to this extra. This str can be int, which is 25. We want to enter an integer. So what is this pk? This is actually looking at, so any extra parameter we enter, let's assume we enter something like 1. It's going to be, this pk is not going to be set to that of the 1. Hope is not confused. Enter will go to update slash 1, and that one, this one that's been set to here is going to be catched by this of the function that we have, this function that we wrote, and then it's going to be occupied inside of this of the pk can say value, and then let's assume we entered 1 is now going to be here. So we're going to query our database and get a content with that of the id of 1. So we're still going to understand this really well when we start this of our function. Where is that guy? That will be our template. That should be in our home. I think that should be it. Home dot. Yep, I think that should be it. Where we'll be trying to loop through our content. Now we will try to make this an anchor tag that we can actually click on it to get a particular content. The way we're going to structure this is going to be, okay, let me just do an example. Okay, let me just take from our page.html. Let me just copy this. So that should be home.html. The way our URL pattern is now going to be, since we know that in our URL pattern, this is what we have. Since we are making use of the name, remember you can make use of any one of your choice. So we are going to set this update post page, and then we are going to, since this is the URL and in our URL pattern matching, that we said that this is the update post that we set, and then it requires another extra parameter. So instead of saying slash, you can come, instead of coming to say slash maybe 1, maybe slash 2, what we are going to do is that since this is inside the loop, and each content is going to have that of the id. So this is what I mean. For example, let's say I want to, okay, let's say okay, let me make a paragraph tag. As for the paragraph tag, I can say post, which is post or what id. Let's actually reload this of our home page. Let's actually what to get pattern. Sorry, let's shut this down for the moment. Let's just shut this down and let's reload it again. But you can see that, okay, you can see that where this post side is, I need to actually access it, make use of these dictionary braces. So you can see we have 1, 2. I think there should be 3 down here. You can see that each of the posts have its own ID. The way they are being structured, you can see the name, the value of the, or can see the number where they are positioned in our table, in our database. So we can then, what are we going to do? So we can then move this of our post ID to become that of the extra parameter. So let's actually do this, the extra parameter that we're going to set here. Hope this is not actually hard to understand. So remember in our scenario, this is the main URL and this is the extra parameter, which is going to be, so when we click on this of the post content, which is this guy that is actually looking like a URL, which we said is an anchor tag that I can actually click to direct it to another website or another page entirely. So you can see that I've actually said what Django requires for us. The main, this is actually that of the update, and that additional parameter we're expected to set. And so also we're going to create the form, because when we go to, for example, we go to, okay, so if I'm logged in, we saw the example at the beginning that we can try to update the title or the content of your choice. So when we want to update, you can also try to update the title or want to update that of the content. So I'm going to just copy this as the starting point, then I'm going to paste this. So what I'm going to call, we can call it update, underscore what post. Simple as that. It's still going to be the same thing. Still going to be same thing. We're still going to the model is going to be that of the post. These are the input, or I can say the forms that want to actually be able to update. So want to actually import this update post in views.py. Let's actually import it here. Okay, update post. So you don't see what we are going to do now is actually to complete our function that we have here. That so anytime we go to that of the slash update slash a particular number of your choice, we are going to get that content actually being displayed the way we are going to do before you can actually update the particular post. We might want to make sure that you are the particular owner of that post and they are currently logged in. So we can say if the post, that was the post dot author is equals to that of the request, is the post dot author of that of the content is equal to that of the request the user, which is the current logged in person. So what are we going to do? So we can create our form and we're going to set it to that of the update post. So we're still going to not do anything, we're still just going to set the instance. I'm still going to set the instance to be that of the post. So since we can set this to post, since we know that this is going to be a whole lot of post. So with this, so the next thing we're going to actually do is to check whether if we made a post request, because when we go to that on the post and you update the post, right now you have not actually updated the post, we'll just check whether if you are the owner of that of the post. I'm not checking whether if the request the owner currently logged in is the owner of that of the post. So and I'll just give you that of the form back and then just put in what we actually got from inside of here, the content, and we're just setting into that of the post. So we're going to set the instance that's going to be that of the update form to be the content that actually selected you want to actually be. So we can say if the request, this request or what the method is it equals to is it a post request? If it's a post request, that means actually click on a particular button to actually submit that of the can say that of the we want to update a particular content. So we are going to set that form, and then right now we are going to populate. Since you actually made a post request, we are going to say that of the request or what post. So but we're still going to set the instance. Then like saying instance is going to be populated with the current information that you actually set. So next we are going to check is if the form, if form dot is underscore what valid, just to check if the form is valid. So what I'm going to do, since the form is valid, we are going to say form dot was save, simple as that. So since we are done saving the form, then it's a good idea to direct somebody to the home page to actually see what he or she actually did. So and say return redirect. Redirect. Where do you want to return that person to? So we can say want to return that person to what home page. If you're not interested in returning somebody to home page or make like typing that on the home page, can make use of this slide. This thing I want to go to that of the root page, but you can start to leave it. So let me just leave it. So, okay, yeah, leave it. Let's just set it to home page. Remember this home page that we set was actually the name we gave to our root URL, which is this home page. So you don't just go and put home page and expect miracle to actually work there. So after that, so let's say in a station whereby you try to access our page whereby you are not authorized and you are not the author of that of the post, what we are going to do, we can say else. So you can see if you don't set this else, nothing is going to, you're not going to get any problem, but I'm not going to get anything displayed. So we can return that of the HTTP response. So we can make a h1 tag. You can say sorry, you cannot access this page. Simple as that. Let's close our h1. That should be a leading slash there. So you cannot access this page. So after that, what we are going to do next is actually to render all of our information. So let's just actually copy this. They're going to be a little bit similar, and you don't want them to be under conditions. We're going to set it request forms and what name of the template they want to actually render. In our case, it's going to be update. See, it's actually clear. You can say update post, simple as that. We're going to create a template name called update post. So view file. I think that's it. So in this of our update post, this is what we're going to, when somebody goes to our go to our this of our goes to this site, I can say this URL is going to run this function, and then it's going to pass some of our information over to that of the update post. To write our logic for our HTML tags for our update post. So let me just go to our home.html. Let me just as I copy some things at the starting point. Update, but let me get rid of it. So paste it, get rid of this. since we are extending from that of base.html, so we are going to say update post, which is we are going to set it to that of the title, and we also want to end that of the blog because that can be forgotten at times. You want to say end block, but you can leave it like this, or you can start to put it end block. So the next thing we want to actually do is to actually set that of the form that we want to actually display on the screen. So we can, let's actually give that of h1 tag. We can call it update form, simple as that. And the next thing, I remember that I also want to make it a lot of the crazy form, so we can just get it to style our page a little bit better. So let's actually create that of the form tag. So we can say our form. So the form, we're going to set the method to that of the post. Remember this post, if you don't set it to post, anything you set it to, you have to actually change it here. So method to the post, and the next thing we want to do is actually to that should be really important. That of the serif token, can say CSRF underscore token Django don't actually pin this. So then the next one to actually display is that of the form that I want to actually display on the screen. And then when you are going to set a button, that when you click on that of the button, it's going to make that of the post request. So you can call the button, you can call it update, simple as that. So one time we update that of the content is going to, later we click on this, but it's going to trigger that of the update. So I think this actually settles it. Okay, where is the problem coming from? Post ID from update, post ID. Yeah, it's post ID. So compass, where did the problem come from? Everything seems to be okay. Now this, okay, this is this line of code, which is line 33. Let's go to our update post. I think that was the update post. Sorry, that was the home.html. I think that was it. So you can see that was the home.html. So where could the problem be? Because everything seems to be nice. Okay, let's also give this a little bit of space. I think that should one of the reasons why it's affecting, because they are signify that these two guys are different entirely. So let's actually run our page. As you can see, I think that's actually the problem currently that we have. I also want to get rid of these push ID that are just popping up here that we didn't actually remove earlier. So okay, so that, I think that's actually settled it. So when I go to something like slash update slash one, we're expecting this easy key first title on admin panel to pop out. Okay, so I can see I have to actually log in. So I'm going to log in on that of the easy keys 2027, and the password was actually that of the test 1 2 3 4 5. Let's actually log in. We logged in successfully with this of the user. So I'm going to set it to, I'm going to go to that of the update slash what 1. So you can see, yeah, that of the title has that of easy keys first title on admin. You can see how beautiful the admin panel, and then easy keys first content admin panel. You can see how when you want to navigate to it by setting that of the parameter that Django is protected for us, it's going to render it for us. So, and also when I can click on this content to actually get to that point. So you can click on these two. So you can access this page. Okay, camera, since I'm not the owner of that of the content, I can't actually access this page, but I don't think that's actually useful as of now. But as we go on, we're going to update it, because as of now, we try to, it's just whenever I want to read out of the content, this can be really, really tricky. So we can see that, let's go to the third one that we know we are the owner. So let's actually update it. So I can say first testing, what updated, and first testing content updated. Simple as that. Let's click on this update, which is going to set us to that of the post form. You can see first testing title updated, first testing content updated. You can see how simple that was actually to achieve. That of the button actually trigger that of the form to be set to that of the post that we can actually see. There are many ways you can make use of that of the title, make use of that of the input to actually handle this. Since once it can trigger that of the font to be set to that of the post method. So this way we to learn how to actually update forms or update our content. We'll actually learn how to create content, update content, And then next one to actually do is actually to learn how to delete the content. In case if you're not interested in seeing that content, maybe it's actually outdated, you want to delete it. So to do that, basically simple. We're going to copy, I think that should be basically it. Just copy this. Let's copy this. It's going to be a little bit similar. So we can call it delete post. Remember, I have to be logged in before you can actually delete a particular content. So you are going to get out of the PK, you are going to get out of the query database, the value is going to be stored, and we're going to check if the author of the post equals the current log. We actually set a form here that is going to display that of the content we selected, and then we're going to actually delete it. But there's a better way to do this. We can actually create a different template that's going to actually handle this. So what we can do is also get rid of this form. Since actually the post, we're going to connect these two guys with another function, which is that of the post detail, which we are going to create next. So I'm going to check if the request that you made, the method is it equals to a post request. So if it's that, we're going to say that of the post that was delete, simple as to remove it from our page of our database. So we're going to return redirect. So return redirect, we can set to return you to the root page or anywhere of our choice. So after that, then we can, in case you are not the owner of that of the page, okay, so say you are not the owner of that of the content, we can make use of that of the else. Then we can say, let's actually make use of this. They are basically going to be similar. Let's just copy this. Paste, okay, let's just copy almost everything and say on the else also. You see that basically going to be similar, but in our case there's no form. I'm going to get rid of this. So I guess if I want to end this and maybe delete post, so for it to make sense, say delete post or HTML. Let's just copy the entire this. I'm going to create a template. Delete post or HTML. Remember, I can do this. You can do this in your own way. You can set to actually when somebody clicks on that particular content, you might want to actually get it. Since once that person is the author of the content, you might want to actually display that content and then um, let that person to be able to delete that content. But in our case, what I want to do is that when you click on this content, you want to actually view more of that of the content. Then, if you are the author of that of the content, you can then delete or update that content. But if you are not, you are going to get this. Okay, let's say I'm logging in as this is Ezee 96, and then I hit on this content. You can see I get this go back, and then let's I try to create my own post. I just give gibberish, then I click on this create post. You can see my content got created. I click on it, you can see I get this go back, delete and update. You can see, but if I go to content that is not of my own, you can see I get this go back. You can see that's what we want to actually achieve. Let's actually go back. So I created our delete post. To go to our URL, we are going to say that delete is going to be delete. Since we are trying to set out the parameter like how we explained earlier, so a string is going to be cut by this pk. Remember that I can start to change this to maybe pkkk. Make sure anytime you change it, you should also put it here. So you don't get everything messed up for you. So those are our URLs. Just change it to pk. So after that, we're done with the okay. I think this should be delete post page. And which function are we going to, which is this delete post? Delete post, simple as that. So I'm going to go to our delete post. Let's go. Hope everything was correct. Okay. So for this software, a lot of the page.html, let me just copy this. Let's go to update post. I'm going to get all of these things. I'm going to now what is going to be delete post. So I'm going to that end block. So we also want to make use of this. Just copy this, paste it down. So next we want to do is we want to actually say in a station by what actually let the user that trying to update the content to be sure that he or she wants to update the content. So we can just get rid of this. So we can make a h1 tag. You can say and be sure want to delete, and then just a good idea of we let the person know the content he or she wants to delete. So in my case, it's going to be that of the post. I can say post and it's called detail. Then what's content. Okay, and we did actually remember that we did actually move this on the post details. So we're going to go to our use the power. We're going to call that on the contest. So let's come down here. Visit our contest to the that of the post detail. And then we're going to set it to that of the post. So we can actually make it here. I'm going to set that of the contest. Okay, hope everything is looking good right now. So that delete post. So one that I actually want to delete this particular content that I want to actually delete. So the next you want to actually do is actually to make situation whereby you want to actually cancel. Let's say you want to make a H2 tag. Call it, can say give it to after tag. Here I'm going to say okay the H2 tag. So we can say go back. So you can say go back, and then we can also do another one, go back, or we can call it cancel. So that will make a little bit sense. So where do we want to click on a particular link that we want to go back. So in our situation, we want to actually go to this of the home page. So let's go to our base.html. So we need to start from beginning. So I think this base.html should have our home page. So okay, let's just type it down. But let's just take this as the starting point. In case if you want to cancel, then we're going to go to our home page. So simple as that. So let's try to go to slash delete. Let's say /1. I'm going to put us to login. So I'm going to say Ezee case 2027. I'm going to say testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then hit on this login. Okay, let's just hold on. Okay, let's go back to /delete /1. I actually want to delete Ezee first content admin panel. First content admin. Okay, yeah, I was one that actually created it because I was confused. Let's say I want to delete, go to that of the two. You can see, sorry, you can't access this page. So let's say I want to delete I want to delete this third content, which is /3. Are you sure you want to delete first testing content upload? By click